Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. It is Christine here. If you're new, I'm a mama of 3 and I homeschool, and that's what this channel is all about, sharing homeschool content and just our journey with homeschooling in general. And today I want to talk to you about the history curriculum I've been using with my 5-year-old who is technically in kindergarten, but this is also something that you can be using with basically any grade level. It's a family style history curriculum, and yeah, I just thought I would talk about it, share my thoughts about it, and how we came about to using it. So the history curriculum that I'm referring to is Story of the World, and this is a very popular history curriculum. It is secular. It doesn't have any I've certainly not noticed that it pulls any which way. Yeah, it's very non-biased in that sense. And I've got the level 1, or the first one anyway, which starts in ancient times. And I think there's 4 in total. I think so. And it takes you through, the different time periods. So first of all, I'll tell you about how we came about using this, because I had no intention of doing history with my son this year. He's only 5. He only turned 5 in March. And history just wasn't one of those things that I felt was entirely important to start this early on, and I didn't want to overwhelm him. However, I was on a YouTube rabbit trail, as you do. You watch one review video and then you go to the next one, and Story of the World came up, and I was like, that looks so familiar. Why does it look so familiar? And then it dawned on me, it's familiar because I have it. And the reason that I have it is because my mother gave it to me. Because this is the history curriculum that she used with us. And I remember it, and we had such good times doing it. It was myself and my 3 younger siblings. And I just remember her using it very clearly. We only did this one, and I don't even know if we got all the way through it. I would have been maybe 14 or 15 when we did it, because I remember which house we were living in at the time, and I just really enjoyed it. And I thought, I wonder if this is something that I can use with a 5-year-old, because I didn't want to overwhelm him. But let me tell you, it's worked really, really well, and I'm very pleased that we started it. You don't have to. I want to just preface this by saying that if you have a child kindergarten or even first grade, you really don't have to do history with them in any formal sense. You could just do it in a child-led sort of interest-based learning experience, but just don't sweat it. If history is not something you get to, it's fine. I decided to use this purely because I had it on the shelf and I thought it would be fun to add into our school. So it comes in 2 parts. You've got your book here, which is where you read to your children from, and it's read aloud style. And then you've got the activity book that comes with it. Now, I don't know what edition this is. Obviously, this is fairly old now, over a decade old, but it's kind of to me, it stands the test of time, that it's working for my son perfectly fine. So yeah, you read aloud from this, and then this book is where it's got questions that you can ask your children, and it's got all of the activities. And then it's also got, I'll show you in the back here, it's got an appendix where it has coloring in pages that you can copy and print off for your kids, and then activities and stuff that each chapter calls from. So the way that I have done it is I try and do a chapter per week. And most of the chapters are broken up. I'll see if I can find it and show you. Most of the chapters, you'll have a chapter here, and it'll be broken up into a couple, 2 or 3 sections usually. Rarely it'll be just one section, but usually, yeah, this one has 2 or 3. And so I will do it twice a week. So I'll do it in the morning when I'll do our read aloud, and then I'll do this, or maybe the other way around. But it only takes 5-10 minutes to read that little snippet. And then I just get my kids to do an oral narration to me. So I'll ask mainly my son, because my daughter's only 3, so I don't really do it with her. But I'll ask him what the story was about, and I might ask him some questions to prompt him. They're playing pillow forts in the lounge right now, and I can hear all sorts of stuff going on. Who knows? And that is how I do it with them. So it's very casual. I don't want to worry at all about memorizing facts or anything like that. It's just to give him a general idea of what was happening in the world at that time. And it's actually been really, really good, because we have been reading through the Bible, and we started in Genesis, and with we did like a children's Bible, which I think I've talked about. I don't know if I've talked about it like on its own, but I would have talked about it in his maybe preschool curriculum video or kindergarten. If I can find where I talked about it, then I will go ahead and link it for you. But we were reading through those Bible stories, and it just like gelled so well with this, and it kind of like connected the dots for him. Like, okay, so this is what was happening in the Bible, but this is also what was happening in the rest of the world around that time. So it's been really good. And then it does offer activity ideas, and what I really like about this is it gives you options. You don't have to do the activities at all, or you could pick one, or you could do all of the activities that they offer you. But I really like that it just gives you the option. And like, for instance, there was one about, I'm trying to think what it was specifically about now. I think it was about like the Egyptians and the type of writing that they used and stuff. And it called for clay, and then you were supposed to make your seals. Well, it just so happened that we were in lockdown during that time, and none of our stores were open, and I couldn't get any clay. And so we just did homemade Play-Doh and did the same thing. Like, it showed the same concept. And I did wonder, because oftentimes I'll read to him out of this, and he kind of really can't narrate it back to me that well. Like, he hasn't really clicked onto things, and he can't remember all of the story. But the other day, I was outside getting the washing off of the washing line, and he was in the garden, and he had his shovel, which is like his size. My husband had bought it for him, and he was digging in the dirt, and he goes, "Mama," and I said, "What?" And he goes, "I'm being an archaeologist." And I was like, "A what?" And he was like, "An archaeologist." And then I realized he was saying archaeologist. And this talks quite a bit about archaeologists and historians and what they are and the difference between them. And it like just hit me that he has been listening. He does get it. And just because a child can't necessarily verbally tell you that they've learned it, it doesn't mean that they haven't. So I think I love that. It's a part I love about homeschooling, is that you can see what your children are learning by the way that they live and the way that they play. And so often you can see what they've learned through their play, because it's manifested through that. You know, sometimes it can be terrifying because you can see your kids like mimicking the way that you behave, and that can be humbling. But it can also be really encouraging when you see, okay, well, we've been talking about this in school, and now he's able to put it into practice. And, you know, he was digging things out of the garden, probably a lot of junk, but he just had such great time with it. And for me, that was just really confirming that this is worth doing, and it's been really good for him. So I do recommend it. I have no idea how much it costs. I will see if I can find it like on Amazon or something and link it down below for you so you can take a look. But I do like that you can cycle back through this. So even though we're doing it now, I can in the future go through it again, and it will just like help to reinforce what he's learned, and it'll be at a different level. You know, we learn different things when we're different ages, so it's been really good. I do love that it's got coloring in pages in here, because what I do is I copy those, I photocopy them and print them out for my kids, and I have them color those in while I'm reading to them. And that's especially helpful for my 3-year-old, because obviously she's not necessarily taking much in, but she's still partaking in the lesson because she wants to do school as well. So yeah, I love it. It's really good quality. I mean, obviously this has lasted years and years, and I just have such vivid memories of doing the projects. Like, we made, I think, like Egyptian something or other, the way that they watered their crops, and I remember making the little contraption that did that with my siblings. Like, we all did it together, and just I have really good memories of that, and it's like stuck in my mind now as an adult. You know, I know how the Egyptians watered their crops, you know. So to me, it's worthwhile looking into. If you want a nice family-based, nice casual way of introducing history to your kids, then I recommend it. I do believe they also have like an audio version of this book. So if you don't necessarily want to be sitting there reading to your kids, say you need to be doing something else, you could get the audio version of this and have them listen to it and then go ahead and do the activities and stuff with them. But I love its flexibility. I love the way that I could pick and choose what I wanted to do out of it, and that we can perhaps pick it up in the future, because I don't know that we're going to continue with this history curriculum next year, because I really want to do Simply Charlotte Masons next year and see how that goes for us. But it's something we can look at in the look to in the future, and I might even use this like in the high school years as a history curriculum. So anyway, it's great. I hope you enjoyed it. I do find the stories in it really quite engaging, but I will say that I have learned the vast majority of my history through reading fiction novels. But like, just about the era, about the time. That's certainly how I've learnt most of what I know about history. But it's meant that, like, I remember reading a book when I was a kid about, like, a certain time period, and then that piques my interest, and then I want to actually go and study that and, like, find the facts about it and do a project and things like that. So I just think that reading to your kids is, like, the best way that they're going to, just to spark their interest and things like that. So, yeah. Hope it was helpful. If you have any questions for me about it, leave them in the comments below. Let me know, what history curriculums have you tried? What are you looking at? I always love hearing about different things. I'm like a nerd when it comes to all sorts of books and curriculum. I love it. So leave that in the comments below. Otherwise, I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
If the world had more of your smile, what if the wind could spread your love? What if your sweetness could reach everyone? There'd be no war.